Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, host Imperial Dane, and it's another Monday, another week, and of course another Monday Novice fight. So for those weak of condition, please avert your gaze and possibly also your ears. I'm not quite sure how you're going to be doing that, although I suppose you could just turn off the volume. Anyways, we're going to be having a 1 versus 1 right here in Sturzdorf, yes indeed, in lovely Sturzdorf, somewhere in the German border area. And fighting shall be down here in the southern corner. We are going to see Robert Trouble. I'm not entirely sure how he actually intends to have me pronounce that. He might as well be called himself the Bingly Bongly Boo. Nonetheless, here he is, fighting for the Americans, fighting for the 25th Infantry Division in the southern corner, and opposing him shall be 1stJeegerCommand. I'm not entirely sure if he wants to be a Jaeger, but that's not with 2 E's. Just like Jesus isn't with 2 E's either. On the way, though, fighting for the Wehrmacht, fighting for the 3rd Panzer Grenadier Division. He shall be defending the Wehrmacht's honor right here in the industrial area of Sturzdorf with the industrial map. We are seeing a engineer on the way. We're clearly not going to be seeing a multiple engineer start from him. So probably the usual barracks and other such sordid American sorcery. I mean, again, so far so quiet. All nice and lovely. And of course, in terms of starts, I mean, there's always quite a few for the Wehrmacht. There's the sort of 5 MG. Then get some Volksgrenadiers, which is certainly one favourite thing some from the more higher ranking Wehrmacht players favour. There's also the 2 Volksgrenadiers Sniper MG or MG Sniper. Again, something also some of the higher ranking players do. Either has the advantages, the MG Bikers start sort of blah. My words do seem a bit slurred, or at least not quite sensible. But I mean, those sort of starts, Biker MG start sort of has, you know, the ability to sort of quickly lock down things from the beginning. The other start, basically, while it focuses your forces a lot more, but at the same time it also allows you to sort of keep up the pressure a lot more on your opponent. So I mean, in that sense, there's all sorts of variations. There's also the Volksgrenadier MG. Lots of firepower, but at the same time, it's also a bit more robust than the Volksgrenadier Sniper MG. And then there's one of the 3 Volksgrenadiers and an MG, sort of the more aggressive of the Wehrmacht starts. There's also the forward barracks and lots of Volksgrenadiers. And right here we are seeing a bit of poor unit preservation by 1stJeegerCommand, although again, it was pretty much a game of chicken, you know, seeing who wants to retreat first. Sadly, neither did, and the Pioneers lost with that because they also decided to rush the American engineers. Not a good idea. Again, unit preservation, particularly in the first few minutes of the game, you know, losing a Pioneer team or an engineer team can be absolutely terrible, devastating. And now he's sending in another Pioneer team, and Mr. Robert Trouble actually pulls out. It's a good move there. Engineers spreading out though, also continuing a bit here, but again for the Wehrmacht commander, not quite the same. Although he's sending away one Volksgrenadier team while he's also sending the Pioneers into the combat zone. Again, I mean, usually you want to keep the Pioneers seizing points away from the enemy and sort of leave the Volksgrenadiers to do this sort of more dangerous capping. Usually you also want to keep your Volksgrenadiers together rather than, you know, having them spread out. And come on, 1stJeegerCommand, do try to be a bit sensible. But there we go, first engagement, Volksgrenadiers running up. Well, first real engagement. Opening up on the American riflemen, who continue and persist to take a point right beneath their noses. Not usually what you want to do. Usually you want to avoid that, since units taking points are a bit more exposed and actually easier to hit. Pulling away from the building though, where the riflemen are taking up positions. Good job there. At least 1stJeegerCommand is not that silly. But again, he could be doing with a bit more pushing. Americans quickly pulling together though. The Wehrmacht forces again utterly scattered. Not entirely sure what's going through the head of 1stJeegerCommand. MG42 out, and he's certainly going for the more regular. Of course, question is what might he be going for next? More Volksgrenadiers, another MG, a sniper. I mean, again, this is sort of very, you know, regular and rather a core of many Wehrmacht starts. But again, the question then becomes what after that, because that again sort of determines what he really wants to go for. Sniper, high attrition, another MG, basically now being rather secure on your flanks. another Volksgrenadier, he's going to be for a more aggressive push. And again, leading the Volksgrenadiers on their own, although they do get off a pretty damn good start on these riflemen. Cutting down a few again. Robber trouble, having a bit of trouble, you know, again pulling out while he's under fire. Again, you usually won't be taking points while being shot at. Sort of, you know, imagine yourself, would I be like to be taking a point while I'm getting shot at? And if the question is no, you know, get the devil out of there. Now for more riflemen moving up, and again, that's again sort of the problem, you know, spraying out your Volksgrenadiers like that. They're going to get gunned down. And now we are seeing the third Volksgrenadier team out, 1stJeegerCommand. So it's definitely going for a slightly more aggressive start right here for the 3rd Panzer Grenadier Division, which sort of did fight around the German border. It was pulled in as essentially the reserve for all the Volksgrenadier divisions and such, fighting right there in preparation for Operation Wacht am Rhein or Unternehmen Herbstnebel, depending on what sort of phase you actually want to be talking about. The preparatory phase was Wacht am Rhein, the actual assault was Herbstnebel, which basically means I believe autumn or spring fog? I'm not entirely sure. And MG42 gets caught off guard. Again, sending in without infantry support. A bad idea. Usually you want infantry to sort of screen your MGs, or at least spot for it. You usually don't want to be queuing right next to a building where an enemy can flank up on it. And the American is getting pretty aggressive, flanking everywhere he can. He's getting BARs. Good to see. And again, not the entirely bad idea to go against a sort of Volksgrenadier heavy start. But again, 1stJeegerCommand persists in spreading them out, leaving them to fight their battles on their own, despite having an opponent who actually knows to sort of focus his forces. Very bad idea. You are playing with Volksgrenadiers, not riflemen. Use that to your advantage and, you know, understand how they're played and not the other way around. I mean, so far, what 1stJeegerCommand is doing is basically playing to the strengths of Orbital Topple for a larger part. I mean, usually, yes, Volksgrenadiers do have the advantages lengths, but again, I mean, his opponent can basically just focus up, and at least now with BARs, of course, there's a lot more firepower. I believe he's using a lot of suppressive fire. One rifle team, though, awfully damaged. Oh, dear, looks like, though, they are getting away. Volksgrenadiers taking heavy losses, veterans, 1 up. And in that case, JeegerCommand did get pretty damn lucky. I mean, his opponent hadn't gone for the BARs, of course, having gone for veterans here. That might actually delay a Kriegbergs and, of course, delay a Pack 30 in case, of course, his opponent would be rushing for an M8. Very, very close to 1stJeegerCommand. But he's still in a bit of trouble again. He's sort of made the bloody foolish mistake of spreading out his troops too much. And Rob Trouble on the other end is basically just pressing onwards. Now getting grenades as well. He's really hoping to get the most out of it. Also, I might recommend, of course, with all that infantry, he gets a medic station up and then sort of, you know, be able to sort of deal with the attrition on a much better stage. Also getting supply ad up. And basically sort of, you know, ensure that something can't really swiftly push the advantage back into the hands of 1stJeegerCommand. Marching out once more with this Volksgrenadier, some equipped with a BAR, the rest not quite as much. MG42 hiding here on its own. Be careful, 1stJeegerCommand. But at least he's focusing up his Volksgrenadiers. At least he's keeping them together. Although again, be careful with the blobbing as well. One strafing run, you know, or one well-placed grenade, and you're in trouble again. But advancing up, usually you want to stick to cover. Riflemen coming under heavy fire, want to be careful. Particularly now the Volksgrenadiers are popping up with BARs of their own. Riflemen are charging at the Volksgrenadiers, of course. Yes, indeed, getting off a grenade. 1stJeegerCommand spots it quite nicely and actually gets out of the rifleman being forced away. Further riflemen, though, charging in. Again, stick to cover. Don't take points while the enemy is attacking you, tosser. Oh dear, and lots of casualties for the Volksgrenadiers. A heavy blow being delivered. MG42 nowhere to be seen, utterly forgotten about by 1stJeegerCommand. Not supporting, not protecting. Absolutely terrible. And no medic bunker either for 1stJeegerCommand. Again, I'd certainly have recommended him getting a medic bunker with all those Volksgrenadiers on the field. But sadly, 1stJeegerCommand seems to be a different opinion. And of course now he has to pay for it. Besides having lost all those Volksgrenadiers, he's certainly not going to be able to recover any of them. Rifle going straight for the MG42. MG42 not ready. Could get grenaded. Yes, indeed. And the MG42 does go down. 1stJeegerCommand, do be careful. Again, MG should not just be left alone at the front line where they could be attacked from any angle. And that's a sort of a very common novice mistake. That's sort of, you know, placing a unit like an MG, sort of thinking, well, it's an anti-infantry counter, and then sort of utterly forgetting company affairs is not about counters. It's not rock, paper, scissors. It's about rolls, and rolls require a lot more flexibility. And of course, they also have to sort of be dependent on terrain maneuverability and a lot of other things rather than a counter. So again, think and do not be sending in support units on their own. Support units are there to support other units. They need to be working with other units, not be on their bloody own. And if you do insist on doing it, get a lot of barbed wire up. Now, of course, forced to get another MG42. Don't run a rifleman with BARs and grenades. MG42, though, bravely saves the day and looks like stormtroopers now arriving. Some more veterans, Panzer Grenadiers, which I suppose is a small blessing. For 1stJeegerCommand, much tougher. Although, you know, again, standing out in the open road against units. A bundle grenade does pretty good. Geballte Ladung. Knocking out many riflemen. There might actually be time to get those out of the building. But again, I mean, not really the wisest handling by 1stJeegerCommand so far otherwise. But looks like a motor pool is up. Armored car on the way. He doesn't actually have the munitions though to get it upgraded. That's great. No doctrine either, of course. 1stJeegerCommand has gone for Blitzkrieg. And riflemen do go down on the retreat. Oh dear, poor Robrotobble. Let's go have a look at 1stJeegerCommand. No further veterancy, no Kriegbergs. Nothing that could actually protect him. In case of that M8 appearing. Except I suppose lots of Panzerfaust might be able to get a Panzerschreck. Panzerschreck's being a lovely, nice weapon. Instead he's getting flamethrowers. M8 moving in. Robrotobble holding most of the map. Volksgun is not relying on heavy cover. Engineers with flamethrowers moving up. Volksgun catches on fire, needs retreat. Rückzug. There we go, pulling him out of there. 1stJeegerCommand improving slightly. Robrotobble moving in, an unupgraded M8 has to be extremely cautious lest he fancy a Panzerfaust at death. But looks like for some bizarre reason 1stJeegerCommand is not really interested in that, which is quite unbelievable. Volksgun is moving straight at some riflemen with BARs. That's, again, not a great idea at all. Again, be cautious at units with automatic weapons and running at them. In particular when you don't have anyone yourselves. Again, securing the rather eastern half. Again, not looking too good for 1stJeegerCommand. He managed a small push. Now he's losing it all again. And he's still lacking the sort of essentials for really dealing with those armored cars. Finally going for the skirmish phase, I'd say. And let's just briefly pause to sort of explain this. 12 minutes into the game is not a good time to get the skirmish phase. Not by a long shot. Particularly not when you, of course, have all that again. So you usually want to be going a lot faster. Because, again, either get a Panzerfaust ready or get something else. But do not just sort of hang about that bloody long. That's inexcusable. That's not right. That's wrong. In particular, again, if your opponent hadn't gone for BRs, you'd be in huge trouble. So again, not really a great maneuver by 1stJeegerCommand. Again, that's why it's a Monday Novice fight, to sort of show those sorts of mistakes and point them out and explain what to do instead. And usually, again, you want to be reasonably much faster than that. At least to, for example, also, you know, get access to MP40s for your Volksgrenadiers, which, again, 1stJeegerCommand doesn't have. Could have helped a bit, at least, you know, not having all of them equipped, of course, but at least some of them, so there's a bit of mix and some different ranges that can sort of be handled. M8 that moves up, still not being handled, still not getting Panzerfaust, but there we go, Panzerschreck ready. Nice hit, M8 needs to get away. But no, gets Panzerfausted. Again, get it completely out of there. Robrotobble, do not hang about, do not wait to see if the Panzer Grenadiers are going to blow your kiss or something. Just get the bloody hell out of there, and it was simply too late. Much too late. Stormtroopers take a minor loss, but the M8 is completely down. Kaputt, nicht mehr, tot, zerstören, and so on. Not good at all. Volksgrenadier still being pushed away. Still no medic bunker up for 1stJeegerCommand, or no medic station for the Americans either. Again, medic station, medic bunker, stuff like that is going to be necessary, in particular when you have a lot of infantry. 4 infantry teams again. If you really have that, get a medic station or get a medic bunker ASAP. Do not wait about, do not hang about, do not philosophize on the nature of the medic bunker or medic station. Just bloody well do it. And some veterancy force units again would have been nice, or at least, you know, getting a Krieg barracks up, getting a Pack 38 ready, or something like that. And a swift assault going in by Robot Topple, moving in with flamethrowers galore, rifling with BARs, gaining veterancy, stormtroopers being pushed off. Oh dear, and one caught on fire, but again, you know, be a bit careful. Stormtroopers are pretty much one of the best infantry units in the game. They do the same damage and have the same high accuracy of Grenadiers, but they are actually tougher. Much tougher. They're in fact tougher than Knights Cross Holders. Although Knights Cross Holders are better at absorbing damage, but still, they are tough. Stu 42 arriving, and of course here's another problem. I mean, his opponent knew that JeegerCommand had gone Blitzkrieg, but he has no anti-tank assets. He has nothing in the eventuality that 1stJeegerCommand simply went for the Stu 42. That's a pretty bad thing. Instead, he actually went for a sniper. While a sniper is certainly nice, a sniper can't deal with the Stu 42. It cannot deal with the Sturmhaubitze. Riflemen, though apparently in this case not really taking much damage. Of course, that's sort of the problem with the Stu 42. It can fire and actually do absolutely no damage. It's a really bizarre thing, and rather why it actually needed a manpower discount to even become reasonably useful. But sometimes, I mean, it'll do terrible damage. Other times it'll shoot 5 or 6 rounds and it'll all be darts essentially. Volksgrenadiers moving in, Stu 42 pulling away, Stormtroopers and more Volksgrenadiers moving up. Still medic bunker though. Sniper firing away, has to be careful though. Sniper has to be very careful, in particular now that he's getting cut off from all other support. Get out of there, Mr. Sniper. Get out of the strafing round though, to the rescue. Does a bit of damage, but again, Sniper is behind enemy lines and Volksgrenadiers hooking up out and actually trying to deny the line of retreat for the Sniper. Very clever that, very clever. And Sniper for some reason just stands about and then retreats, getting gunned down by the BAR-equipped Stormtrooper, the Sturzdorf. Not really well handled there by Robot Topple, I'd say, I'd argue. He's actually even lost an infantry team. Marching up right here again, right into the jaws of the Stu 42. But actually quite very little in terms of victory points for 1stJeegerCommand. He's been drained pretty dry, and it's actually time for the mid-game analysis. Situation pretty rubbish in different senses for both sides. I mean, clearly 1stJeegerCommand has a lot more units, but he doesn't have a lot of victory points, and he doesn't have a lot of the map. That's going to be a pretty huge problem for him, and concerning he also end up giving Robot Topple time to actually get something together, even if 1stJeegerCommand actually takes enough victory points. But again, he doesn't have a medic bunker, he doesn't really have anything that could support some further operations, and he's essentially lacking anything above a Wehrmacht quarters. He's relying heavily on Stormtroopers and the Stu 42, which can only get you so far, I'd argue. Of course, things are looking a lot worse in terms of units for Robot Topple. He has very little left, he has 3 rifleman teams, and an engineer. Everything else has been lost. Poor unit preservation, you know, not really placing them well. Not upgrading your M8, or basically rushing in an M8 that has been upgraded. No anti-tank assets, again, pretty huge problem. Always ensure you have something like that, in particular when there's a chance your opponent, having gone Blitzkrieg, might get a Sturmhaubitze. But again, absolutely nothing of that. Very mistake. He needs an anti-tank gun, he needs to get some more infantry out in the field, he needs a medic station. He really should have gotten one earlier, but he didn't. And now things are really turning against him, because again, he's not quite being able to keep his units alive. He's doing silly things. He does have sticky bombs, but I mean, sticky bombs can only do so much. In particular when your riflemen seem almost keen on running under the treads of the Stu 42. And an engineer team actually got completely killed off. So again, Propagandacast now all of a sudden making a lot of mistakes, having gone through a pretty good start to a pretty bad mid-game. MD opening up. 1stJeegerCommand and the 3rd Panzer Grenadier Division stabilizing the situation with Stormtroopers, Stu 42 and some Volksgrenadiers to sort of add to the firepower. Riflemen out in a lot of heavy fire, getting forced away. 10 kills for the Stu 42. Lovely to see that. Now anti-tank guns for Propagandacast. And of course he has gone airborne, and he's dropping in some airborne troops. Not entirely sure why he's running him there, or why he's continuing on this path, why he's insisting on throwing them away like this, feeding them to the Stu 42, lobbing a grenade at the MG 42 in fact, getting one man, but of course this airborne are now going to get quite punished as they're trying to retreat. They do make it out there, but again, pretty bad thing. Might be better to try and keep them on the flanks, do some damage to the Wehrmacht around here. Force 1stJeegerCommand to spread out his defenses rather than allowing him to concentrate around the Stu 42 around here. Mind you, this building is in a pretty bad condition. One more hit and the MG 42 in it could be lost. Again, remember, buildings that are about to collapse will also take the units in them with them. Now we're seeing a wave attack by Propagandacast, basically just, oh dear, this is not good at all. Just sad to see, getting gunned down. Grenade right here though. Oh, doing heavy damage, but not enough. And he himself has suffered quite extravagant losses. I even think he lost a rifleman team. That's not good at all. That's very, very wrong. Bunker finally going up for 1stJeegerCommand. About bloody time.
We are losing ground.
And Propagandacast just continues. Interesting enough, there's been absolutely no mining, but wire sandbagging from either side. Again, I'd say that's also a pretty huge miss. But Propagandacast really needs to get his act together. He's throwing men away, losing them in completely asinine ways, and not really doing much to preserve them or get something that could deal with that Stu 42. And again, moving them up the same avenue, where you know there's an MG 42 again, isn't really a hugely clever thing. Now dropping in an anti-tank gun though. Opening up on the Stu 42, but again, what's there to protect this anti-tank gun? Absolutely nothing. And Stormtroopers and Volksgrenadiers are quick to move in and deal with that. Grenades do their best, but that's not really a lot. Rather than continue getting suppressed by the MG 42, anti-tank gun still quite exposed, and it's going to get cleared out. So that was an absolute waste, and quite the terrible assault. And these airborne need to get out of there as well. Bloody retreat. And let us return to Propagandacast, who seems quite insistent on throwing his men away. Blood, guts and glory, except he seems to be forgetting the glory, which involves actually doing something clever. And that's not really great. I'm pretty sure Patton is going to be delivering a steel-toed boot up his arse. MG 42 cleared out. Will the American commander spot this and do something incredibly inspired and actually take it? I know all the cool American commanders do this. And if you want to be cool, you also want to be stealing an MG 42 from the Wehrmacht's finest. Well, that wouldn't call 1stJeegerCommand the finest, partly because he can't spell Jäger correctly. And now a huge assault going in. Anti-tank are getting surrounded. Riflemen firing away madly. Grenades at this building, not looking good. Anti-tank gun has not turned about. These riflemen inside this barracks need to get out of there. Get them out of there, mate. Just run, Forrest, run. Stu 42 finally goes down. Stormtroopers might actually be going down themselves. So these riflemen, veterans 1. MG 42. Never mind, one moving up to actually protect this area. Still medic bunkers. Does Propagandacast have some sort of issue with medics? Did he get scanned by one when he was a child? I have no idea, but really again, get some, you bloody fool. And 1stJeegerCommand seems not really keen on, you know, picking up that MG42. Perhaps he doesn't believe in hand-me-downs.
Our front lines are collapsing.
Not really good, Pioneers. Get them out of their 1stJeegerCommand, or do you just have a death wish against all Pioneers?
Have cut forward supply lines.
But pushing forwards again, MG42, Volksgrenadiers and Stormtroopers. No assault rifles or MP40s, but these rifles then again are not in a great condition, and these troops are veteran T2. Grenade does little. BARs does more and gain veteran T2. More riflemen are moving up. MG42 nowhere to support them. Rifleman getting suppressed, and another Stu-42 moves up. Anti-tank gun is in a pretty bad condition to actually support and stop that Stu-42, because the ruins of that administrative building is actually blocking it, and he doesn't look like to be actually moving it. Airborne hitting a mine, not getting reinforced. Come on, oh, he's going to be moving it right into that mine, isn't he? Yes, indeed. Again, Robert Topple. Blood, guts, but not any glory at all. He had a good start. He used some BRs, used some grenades, and then it absolutely fell apart for him. And when I say fell apart, I really mean fell apart. Grenadiers are now arriving for 1stJeegerCommand, ready to fight for the glory of the fatherland. 30 caliber machine gun up, suppressing the Volksgrenadiers Grenadiers as they're moving up. Stu-42 moving in. Again, anti-tank gun cannot fire in support. Be very cautious of firing arcs. Again, not really what's happening for Robert Topple. And be very careful, that building could be collapsing, of course killing the MG42 in it. Still no attempt at securing that MG42 from either side. No Volksgrenadiers Grenadiers being sent in. But another push by the Stormtroopers. What remains of Robert Topple's forces moving forward is getting blasted by the Stu-42 again. No anti-tank gun movement, no anything, not even recruiting this one to open up there. I mean, it's an utter disaster. MG heavy machine gun attack just moved a bit. Could easily get killed though, because it's barely got any help for any men. Grenades not being knocked into the path, but instead just at the troops, which means that it flies too far. Anti-tank are not fully moving. MG42 down. Riflemen surrounded. Need to get out of there. Come on, Robert Topple. And looks like this anti-tank gun is sorted out as well. Again, not good protection of his support units. Not great understanding of much besides BARs and grenades. Now just sending in under-reinforced units, not even at full health, into the front line to get them killed. Come on, Robert Topple. Come on. And still not a single medic station in sight, whereas, you know, medic bunker here. Grenadiers for 1stJeegerCommand. In fact, several Grenadier teams have now been put together, although they're having a bit of a hard time getting any kills because everybody else is doing the killing. They just sort of, you know, can't seem to quite get it.
Rifleman squad, front and center.
Will he be trying to recruit an anti-tank gun? Will he be trying to stop that Stu-42, the beast of the 3rd Panzer Grenadier Division? Will he just be rushing in right into the front of everything, getting his troops murdered, massacred, slaughtered again? And seems like he's quite intent on doing that. Not recruiting the anti-tank gun to knock out that Stu-42.
The Axis hold the initiative.
Pretty sure that Robert Topple is going to get court-martialed after this. Or at the very least sacked and sent home in disgrace. LMG now ready for the Grenadiers. Rifleman getting pushed away. Strafing run. But it doesn't do much as it misses quite nicely. Again, sort of try to protect the path of your opponent's movement using this strafing run. Don't just, you know, if you see them moving, fire at them where they are currently. It's likely going to miss, as you might have noticed right here.
We're ready to move in.
Another bunker going up for 1stJeegerCommand. Victory points being secured. Airborne moving up again. Still no recoilless rifles, still no anything. Anti-tank guns being snatched by the Grenadiers just in case the Americans do decide to get some armor. MG42 moving up. This one still has not been recruited, which I still think is a bit odd. Usually want to recruit them. But apparently 1stJeegerCommand seems to be of a different opinion. Airborne caught on the center victory point. Stu-42, Veteran 2 now. Good to see that. Clearing out. Doing terrible damage. And these airborne need to get out of there. And again, just charging up here, I mean, to sort of basically demonstrate what could have been done. Well, I mean, he could have tried to attack from several angles. He has the rifleman for it. He could have been sneaking up some here. Again, no mines or barbed wire by JeegerCommand. So, for example, if he'd spread out the assault a bit, one team here, perhaps sneaking up two here, and then perhaps sneaking up one here, he could have been assaulting this position, crushed it, seized the anti-tank, and possibly been used in against the Stu-42. But again, he's moving it up one path, right into the MG fire again. That is bad. That is very bad. And it rather looks like he's completely lost all sensibilities. He knows that 1stJeegerCommand is down to 6 victory points, and he's basically just charging in madly, hoping to drain him of the victory points. He's lost all sense of tactics, all sense of strategy. He's charging in madly without any sort of common sense going through his head. He is basically desperate, and he doesn't really know what else to do, so he just keeps pushing. He just keeps amassing infantry and hoping he can simply basically push through and deny 1stJeegerCommand of his victory that way. I mean, he's certainly close, but again, lots of anti-infantry power being generated against him. Machine guns, MP40s, assault rifles, BARs, everything else and in between. Although again, remember, Grenadiers, for them to fire the LMG-42, need to be standing still, so give them the halt order when you're in the sort of position you actually like. Remember, halt. Do not move. Lots of VARs have been dropped, but there's no one to pick them up. How about these Grenadiers? Would be a nice move. Apparently not. But 2 points left for the Wehrmacht commander. But again, the American commander utterly botched it right there again. Took heavy losses. And again, he might not be able to actually pull this off, and cost the Wehrmacht commanders now moving in to secure another victory point to sort of protect him against this sort of harassment for the final victory point. Sending in one singular airborne, not reinforcing him. Bad. Rather than here getting slaughtered, murdered, massacred. And let's just speed up this disgraceful end for Robert Topple. And there we go. This is pretty much the end. Not very polite though by 1stJeegerCommand, but there you go. And what can we learn from this? I mean, there were sort of several lessons, you know. Unit preservation again, sort of being the primary one. Again, this sort of thing novice players have to be careful about, you know. Don't charge in units into silly situations. Do retreat in time. Don't get them caught off behind units with automatic weapons, in particular snipers. That was very bad. Then, of course, remember to have anti-tank assets. A fault both players actually managed to make. First, it was 1stJeegerCommand with that M8, and then it was Robert Topple against that Stu-42. I mean, it's quite rare you actually see both players making that mistake. But somehow they managed. But again, no annexation, no bunkers led to a high attrition for both sides until finally 1stJeegerCommand got the message and got one which netted him 2 Grenadier teams. Absolutely amazing. And then, of course, I mean, if you can't drain your opponent victory point, just do it. But again, don't just make mad dashes from one angle of one tiny path into an MG-42 or anything else. That was absolutely stupid. Absolutely horrifically court-martial worthy stupid. Had it been him in the Wehrmacht, he'd been sent off to the Eastern Front with a rubber duck instead of a gun. So that was absolutely terrible play from Robert Topple, who got absolutely desperate and completely lost it. And basically wasted a lot of good men on completely stupid suicide missions to sort of try and drain the last 2 victory points. On the other hand, had he been a bit clever, he could have done it without problems. But there you go again, the sort of thing that a novice might not quite think about. So there you go. I do hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, I hope you learned something. And of course, feel free to send in a replay of your own. This is Imperial Dane saying, of course, remember to preserve your units, think about cover, and of course, don't make insane dashes. Cheers!